Hey everyone, welcome to another live stream of 5 Idiots Talking Toys. It's Sunday night. You guys are used to watching the show on Sunday night, but we don't record on Sunday nights anymore. So we're back here live on Sunday. The boys are here. We have some special guests here. We are going to take a look at the Hakes auction, the final prices, the very high final prices. We'll run through some of the bigger ticket items. You know, we've done this previously in an episode or 2 or 3 at this point of 5 Idiots Talking Toys. Thanks very much for being here. Please like the channel, subscribe. We want to hear your comments in the live chat, so thanks for joining us. Let's bring in Brandon Alamo first, live.
Thanks for having me on.
From San Diego. Thanks for being here. Christopher,
how are you?
I'm good. I'm exhausted. I've been working on my house all day long, so I'm beat.
Oh, yeah.
My wife is like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm just tired. I'm beat. Painting and sanding, and I had a whole day to get stuff done." Christopher has not been sanding anything.
What's up, guys? Are we live?
We are live.
Oh, awesome! Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on.
It's been a few years.
It's been a
Cheers.
It's funny. I looked at our channel about 40 minutes ago or so, and it says you guys were live. I think we did something live. I don't think it was a show, but it was 6 months ago. Oh, no, you know what it was? It was the last live was at the convention.
Yeah.
And then before that was like 6 months before that. So we're well overdue.
God.
And here's Lord Walden. He's joining us from Georgia.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Oh, John.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's it going?
So here we are. We're live. It's the first live show in quite some time. I think we're going to get back into the groove of live shows about once a month, hopefully. But
I mean, that's what we're supposed to be doing once a month, and we don't follow through with anything we ever say.
Well, we did for a while. We were really pretty good, and then we got into the summer, and everybody's all over the place in the summer. And we just went ahead and got lazy and let that bleed into the fall.
We have 45 eBay episodes that we need to do to catch up on what we were saying we were going to do.
And the figure.
Oh, the figure review?
Figure review?
Yeah.
That you could go both ways on that topic. Some say we'll never, ever do another episode, and some say we'll do plenty more. So we'll see.
I'm hoping the plan is to actually never do another one again.
Well, they're begging for it. The people want it. We got to give the people what they want, Chris.
Yep.
Right. Well, Chris's favorite part is when we throw it over to John for accessories, and he talks about the gray Imperial Blaster.
Oh yeah, he starts naming all these like accessories that don't even exist.
They exist.
They don't exist.
They exist.
Let's check in with the action figure grader. John Rula's here. John, are there gray Imperial Blasters?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Dark gray.
On that one, no.
Dark gray Imperial Blasters.
Sure.
You
Is
didn't
there
say
like
dark gray.
is there like a foreign one?
Dark gray.
Isn't there a glass leet?
Is that Toll Toys?
No.
I don't know that stuff.
We're in an episode and we're going through the figures for like novice collectors, and then we throw it over to John. He's like, sometimes you can get a gray blaster. We're like, what?
Like,
A
what?
dark gray.
No, you said gray blaster, John.
Gray, dark gray, whatever.
Purplish gray blaster.
Purplish gray.
Color is the M615V521.
Shut up.
A lavender mauve.
What factory does that come with?
John, aren't you supposed to be in bed?
Yeah, it's 8:00 my time, so
Very late.
I'm trying to watch the game also. So this was really great. Really appreciate it.
Great timing. I'm in a room that doesn't even have television. I'm missing the entire second half of the game. I have no idea what's going on.
It's a close game.
Uh,
But thanks for having me on, guys.
John
Phil
will just
Sims.
adjust his screen and then he'll have it on in the background.
Yeah.
Phil Sims just threw a touchdown.
Move your screen over. There you go.
Oh, it's too bright. Too bright.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on a Sunday night. We appreciate it.
For having me.
We're going to bring in the replacements. We're going to bring, well, it's just one replacement. We're going to bring in a replacement for Charles, and his name is Charles Gothard.
Charles Gothard.
Adam.
Cheers, fellas.
Hey, thanks, Charles. Thanks for coming on.
Adam.
Welcome. Look, John, my 3D printer says we can get Imperial blasters of whatever color you would like, sir.
Okay. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
He wants
See?
dark gray, lavender, mauve.
Charles grew a beard. Yeah, nice.
Got old, too.
I don't think that Charles can actually grow a beard like that.
No, remember it took him all of November to get like some fuzz by the 30th for Movember.
Yeah.
Charles should not be on Movember. That's not for him. All right. Well, we're going to bring in our second guest now so he can join the fun. Ross Barr is here, and Matt Neef just covered his whole face. Do you believe that? Unbelievable.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Ross
Good evening,
Barr,
Ross.
welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on.
Hey, clean my office for you guys and everything.
Oh,
right,
wow. That's
nice.
more than I've done.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mother.
I don't think my office has been clean for one episode of this show.
Well,
Shane, this is why you always get sick, because you're always breathing in a lot of dust.
I know. And I have a cleaner over in the corner just going overdrive. One of those air purifiers.
You honestly have two choices: roll it all into a ball and burn it, or just sell it on Rogue 5.
Correct. Yeah. What is this layout we're doing? 3/4, 4/3. What are the other fun layouts we have? Do we have
No,
anything
let's
else
not.
more fun?
This is-
Oh, we're not going to do that.
This is really compelling viewership here.
Oh, spicy. Let's get our two super
No.
guests.
No,
up
I
here.
don't want no.
Oh, look at that
There we
clean
go.
office.
Clean.
There you go.
Looking so clean and nice.
I can see Ross's clean office. I can see John's clean head. This is great.
Yeah, I can see
And his clean
Patrick
nose.
Mahomes off of John's head.
I just shaved it today for you guys and my face. I look really good and clean.
and you trimmed your nose hair too, I see.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It's very
Yeah.
clean.
All right. Well, if it grows during the episode, feel free.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Feel free to jump in there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're all here except for Charles. He's
Oh God!
he's busy.
Wait, no, not on me. Get it on. Get it on.
That is
Get it
sexy.
on, Chris.
That is sexy.
That's messed up.
So gross.
All right. Well, we got a bunch of people in the chat. We're gonna watch for some. If you guys have any questions for anything that we're talking about, for either of our guests, and Adam is really a guest too. He's filling in for Charles. We're so happy to have him here. Adam, we know we talk about your stuff all the time.
You do. Thank you.
And I do still have that spreadsheet that we looked at the other day, guys. I don't think that episode has that episode aired yet.
No.
No, so it'll be new for everyone tonight. But I have a spreadsheet where I brought all the sales from Hakes into the spreadsheet
It aired
just
last
for quick
Sunday.
viewing. It aired when?
Last Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's right. It did.
Okay, all right.
Oh, it
so
did? Oh.
Yeah.
who knows? John
do.
is just making it up.
We don't watch our own show
Who has time to record a show
and
and
then
then
watch
watch
it.
Only John Rula does
Well,
it.
it did air because
He's got like
John
15-minute
Rula
episodes.
John Rula gave you a shout out for compiling all
I
the
did. I actually did
all
do
the
that.
money. Yeah. So yeah, on one of his episodes. So yes, it did come out already. Unless
All right.
No. No. Me
No, I
and
Did you doubt me? I'm the one who freaking posted it.
Me and John talk 24/7. I texted him 13 seconds after you told me. And that's how we knew.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I gave proper credit. It's not like I put it. I tried to claim everything.
Right. All right.
So-
Well, what do you guys want to start with? You want to jump to the website? You want to get to the spreadsheet? I mean,
I want to talk about Hakes in general.
let's talk.
I don't think we need a spreadsheet to go over the crazy prices that we saw.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Shane can refer to them though, I guess. If we
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So just to throw a topic out, let's start with the DT OB1. That was the big ticket item. Final sale price was $105,000. And is that with the buyer's premium?
Yes.
With the-
I mean, I thought it was going to go higher, to be honest with you, like over 100, and then the BP on top of that. So I was thinking like 125, maybe. That's what I was thinking, because one just sold for 75 grand. I think it was a 75 grade. So I figured it would go a little bit higher, but it's still a great price.
That's kind of where I was too. I made a preview video for it, and I said I wouldn't be surprised at all if it goes for 100, just based on those other data points that Hakes provided as part of the marketing. And it did. I mean, after the buyer's premium, it did. But I was with Chris on that. I thought it would go for like that price plus the premium. So it was maybe a little lower than I expected.
I don't know. I think people were saving their money for like high grade prune face, right?
Yeah.
That went for $7,700. They were keeping their powder dry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
insane.
There's a lot of that. It's the one that Ross brings up. There was one last year. It was an A85 Rancor Keeper, same issue where the blister had yellowed, and I just chalk it up to a bidding war between two people that got stubborn and they wanted to have it, and they don't know action figures very well. We've seen similar items over at Heritage where they were AFA 95s, quote unquote, and they weren't really 95s anymore, and they would go for 4.5 to 5 times market value. So that was a perfect example of that. And
is that stubborn? I think up to like $2-3 grand for a prune face.
Yeah.
I think it's a different word when you get up to like $8,000 for a prune face.
So I'm a prune face collector. And if someone offered me an AFA 90 prune face mock, I wouldn't even pay personally. I would not even pay $400 for it.
Right. That's exactly what I said too in my video.
Because want to know why? Because I sell about 300 prune faces on Rogue 5, and I can grade one and get a 90 myself. But I would never pay $400, let alone $8,000. I found that to be completely asinine.
Yellow bubble too, by the way.
Yellow
bubble.
Yeah, and being a collector, somebody could argue that you would want that as a focus collector, but damn well that it's not worth that. So even at whatever a reasonable auction price, a fifth of that, a fourth of that, it's not going to hold its retail value. I mean, maybe you could turn around and sell it for a quarter or a third, but $8,000, no.
So anyone in the right mind would spend more than I think Chris was right, $400 or $500 maybe for a night.
I mean, any serious or real collector in the hobby that's collecting mocks is just not going to spend that much on a prune face. Yeah. So it had to have come from some rich, whale oil investor guy probably, and
Saudi Arabia
throwing money around. And
how many of those bids do you think were people who wanted to say that they got something from the Jeff Jacob auction?
Yeah, I mean a little piece of something, but not for the prune face.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's like
I really want his prune. I'm gonna spend $7 grand on his
crown jewel of the Jeff Jacob collection.
Yeah. I mean, Ross and I witnessed it firsthand at the Morphe auction. All those prices went kind of completely insane. And we were just sitting back like our jaw was dropping, like we couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And this is kind of no different, just even worse.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
There were some, I mean, in all fairness, there were some pretty good deals in this. I mean, not good deals, but fair deals.
Yeah.
But in general, it kind of went to expectations that it was very well marketed by Hakes. They did a really good job of building up excitement for it. And there's a lot of people that I know, I'm talking like big boy money type investor, collector type folks that they didn't buy anything for 2 or 3 months and they were sitting on a big cash pile and, that they wanted to have something from this auction. So, and there were some that went well above market, but there were a few deals here and there, or at least fair market value prices. You could make an argument that like the AFA 85 Return of the Jedi Leia that went for $1,700. That was an AFA 85. I mean, that's a pretty good deal, really, for what that is. It's a tough item to find in that grade, and even though it was yellowed, they all are for the Return of the Jedi Leias.
I think that sells for $800 to $1,000 just ungraded as it is. So to be a graded in 85, yeah, like that was a good deal. But remember there was 400 items, so like a couple of them were going to fall through the cracks to be decent. But I would say 390 of them were completely insane.
I think less fell through the cracks than we had guessed might have with that volume. With 400, with 400, you would have guessed a decent amount would have slipped through. And when we looked at the numbers, there was some real surprises on the upside. The higher end. So
you scroll through the whole listing. I did that today. I prepared for this podcast.
That's
right?
more than anyone here did. So,
definitely, yeah.
It's just everything all together. When you scroll through, I think you see that everything is 1,500 to 2,000 plus, right? And typically, you don't go far down the list until you hit 1,000, right? You can go a couple hundred down, and everything was 1,500, 2,000 and above.
Yeah,
common, easy stuff to get.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
and that topic, guys, of what was the premium on the Jake Jefferson name collection? Does that mean anything to anybody really? I mean, major investors, does it mean anything to them? To the average collector?
I don't know, man.
I'm a collector. I don't care.
They slapped Morphe Find all over things, thinking that was going to hype it up. You don't even know. You don't even remember about that crap.
But that was
somebody Morphe Find. They're like, who?
I mean, that was a find of figures that were discovered. Whatever the story is, there was a story there. I mean, this is just, no offense. I mean, he's a collector. He's a not a typical collector. I mean, he's a pricey high-end collector, but he's a collector. I mean, it's not like you're buying, I don't know, Rick Springfield stuff or some famous guy's stuff. Does it really matter that you got it from a certain collection? I don't think so.
I think so either.
I mean, I know.
Sorry.
No, you can go.
Okay. Jeff's a wonderful guy. He's a great guy. He's got a kick-ass collection. It was great. You really do got to tip your hat to Hakes, though, right? All the videos they put out, all the marketing that they did, they just killed it. There's no two ways to look at it. They killed it. But does it matter they came from Jeff? I don't think so.
I mean, to some people, that's what they were wanting. I just want to own something from his collection. So I think some people did.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only speak to what I collect, right? So I like Dengar, I like Bosk, I like Cloud Car Palette. And I mean, they had some mint on cards in this auction, like the 47 back Bosk and Dengar. I've been looking for those for 10 years in clear blister high grade. I've never seen one ever. And me, I scroll. I mean, I am notorious for scrolling eBay, Facebook groups. I mean, I troll everything. And in 10 plus years, I've never seen either one of those clear blister in any grade, much less than 85. So, I mean, some of those prices, I'm like, yeah, if I had been in the market, I would have paid that price. And there were several in this auction where I was like, yeah, I'd pay, like the Meccano Hollow Cheeks Tuscan Raider tri-logo, a 1 of 1.
That went cheap.
I would have paid that. I would have paid $2,500 in a heartbeat.
I actually thought that actually went low. Yeah,
I mean, so there was some stuff in there that I was like, yeah, while the prices were more than I would be comfortable paying for some of them, if you extrapolate what I just said about those items that I was looking at to everything else, if somebody might have a 12-back collection and then they just need that one AFA 85 SKU footer R2D2, and if you get two guys like that, you're going to have these stupid prices if they got FU money, and so that can happen pretty easily. The Cloud Car palette that I wanted, the debut card 45 back clear blister, they had an AFA 80 or 80 plus that sold last year for I can't remember the number. It was 11 to 1,300 somewhere in there. I was like, okay, so this one will probably go 1,800 to 2,000, and it went for whatever it was, $4,000. So
600. That was in my notes. 5,600.
Wow.
Guys that have to have it, and they got FU money. We got Bitcoin at all-time highs right now. They can sell one of their 2,000 Bitcoin, and they can pay whatever the hell they want to because they don't care. You got to look at other asset classes right now. They're all pumped up. So if they can, if they feel rich and they've got X amount of dollars in the stock market or X amount of crypto or whatever it is, dropping $2,000 versus dropping $5,000 for the card that they want, they don't care. They don't. I know a guy that emailed me after the Hakes auction, and he had bought like 19 mocks. He had spent something like $100,000, and he doesn't care.
Does he want to sell them on Rogue 5 after or no?
No, he really doesn't.
So what do you guys think that's going to do to the market now for stuff on sale? Because we're already starting to see in some groups people are asking astronomical prices that are actually laughable, to tell you the truth, on some of these things, thinking that it's like
they're not actually a real group. They're on Fantasy Island over there, and they can ask what they want, and I don't think anyone's paying it. So
eBay, it's all over eBay. If you got a clear blister or whatever it is, immediately after the Hicks auction, they put it on there, and it's like
it's ridiculous.
4x market
right now. It's just insane.
But the same thing happened after Morphe too. Remember? I mean, if you remember, when after the Morphe auction ended in February of whatever it was, 23. I mean, I saw the same phenomenon on Facebook as well as on eBay, where people just started throwing prices out, and it'll normalize again. It always does, right?
Yeah. It's like when somebody dies, like James Earl Jones died, so his autograph price went from $150 to like $300 overnight, and then it normalizes again 2 months later when nobody cares about him anymore. So.
And the funny thing is he was not a big signer, right? He didn't autograph a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Not as much as like Dave Prowse.
Right. So it's not like all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there's not going to be any more signings. Like he wasn't signing that much already anyway. It was literally just a kind of a fact that he passed away. The price went up on its own.
Yeah.
The Jeff Jacob collection is going to continue. This is not a one-time event, right? They're doing this every 3 months. I think they got 6 more bullets in the chamber, right?
I thought it was 3 or 4 parts until the other night when you guys told me it was 7. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. 6 more. Yeah.
I mean,
is in May is what Alex Winter said over at Hakes. He said the next one's going to be in May.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found a lot of the population reports to be off and actually not correct because the R2D2 with the skew footer, the 85 straight 85 is one of one only. I actually personally know someone who has exact same one, graded 85 straight 85s, because I was going to sell it on the page. So I've actually had my hands on it. I'm very good friends with this guy. So that kind of made me start looking at others, and I found out that the pop report were actually not correct on a couple of them.
There was a lot of those pieces where they said, top in the pop or whatever, whatever nomenclature they used, right? That they went for big money, right? Yeah. So if that's wrong, and you paid a premium for that, I'd be pissed.
Of course, I would be pissed, bro.
That prune face.
I mean, I only had a problem with the fact that, like, if you're selling a skew footer and like the R2D2, when you're showing pictures, shouldn't you be showing the picture of the skew on the footer? That's the whole point of the card. That's the money shot. There was no picture of any skew on any footer. And then when you're selling like a Blue Jedi tri-logo, it's a one of one, never seen. Where's the close-up of the Blue Saber? I didn't see it.
Definitely took standard photos, left, right, center. Next piece.
I would have liked to have seen some more detailed pictures of those items that are going to go for insane money for that specific reason.
Sure.
They did that for some of them, like the Lily Lettys. I noticed that for like the Luke Bespin and things like that. I do think that that's fair criticism about, because I did hear from a number of buyer or viewers or bidders that the pop report marketing portion of the listings was incorrect for a number of them. So I hope that they take that to heart and they wait, maybe, because it could have been they waited, or that maybe they weren't searching correctly. Who knows? I'm not trying to defend Hakes on that. I just think that that's probably fair criticism that I hope that they carry over to the next session where they get that really accurate, or wait to the very end to really dig in on those before they input that information on the listing, because I do think it makes a big difference on price.
Yeah. It has. I mean, it's a borderline misrepresentation, right? If that's wrong and someone's buying it on that basis.
But isn't AFA and Hakes, aren't they owned by the same people?
Well, technically AFA, well, Ross, you know this better than I do. I'll let you talk.
I mean, yeah, I have an interest in what's going on, obviously, with them. Are we dovetailing into the second portion?
It was just an honest question of how can you screw up on population reports when AFA is kind of almost
It's like it's like a sister company or whatever.
No,
Sister
you know what I
companies,
mean?
exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe their data is wrong. I know that they went to a new website. Maybe some of the data didn't transfer. I don't know. I'm totally guessing. Right?
I'll just say this: the population report mechanism on AFA's website is really jacked up. I mean, I have a buddy. I have a buddy that went through and found the population of every single loose graded variant for every single character. I mean, it was like months of work he put into this, and there are some things that early labels from AFA may not capture the same thing as like made in Taiwan only. There's all kinds of weird little variations like that. I still think though that for the big like mint on cards, you should be able to get that pretty accurate. I feel like.
Also, keep an eye on that 63rd coin that sold for Ross. I don't know if you wrote this one down. 14,000.
I did not see that one. No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, the one that there was a 63rd coin. It's like it's a Jedi Knight coin. I got graded a 90, and a lot of the let's say top coin guys are actually saying that it's a restrike. It's actually fake. So that's going to be interesting to see the person who bought that when they do get it checked out, because it's been like 7 or 8 people that really know coins very well. They're saying that.
Who graded that?
Wow.
AFA.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't CAS? Wasn't CAS.
It wasn't CAS. No.
You got your own problems, all right, Ross.
Thank you. So more than a few people said to me, they're like, "There's not one CAS graded item in this auction," and I was like, "Yeah."
There's going to be plenty.
Look, Jeff was one of AFA's first and biggest customers over the course of like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there was a time for his business. He came and gave a lot of stuff to CAS, I think, when he was annoyed with AFA for a while, but that was for the stuff that he sold. Every single item in his collection has always been AFA graded.
Personally.
That's how it was.
I mean, I remember just growing up, and as I was collecting when I started in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I would go on YouTube and I would type in vintage Star Wars, and you would always see Jeff's old videos from like 20 years ago from his old house, and you would just see his collection and everything. It's always been AFA. It's always been. So
Lynette Snow's comment. Hi, Lynette. By the way, I agree with her on that. That was one I highlighted in my my wrap up video. I thought that was a good deal on the AFA 85 Yoda proof card. It was like $3,000. And
you never see them. You never see them.
Well, I mean, the one of the main characters. I mean, that's a pretty fair deal if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brandon has 3 of those in his drawer.
Probably
actually printing them.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam is making a 3D rendering of it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, here she is. She said 2,600. There you go.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So overall, do you think this is actually good for the hobby, like with prices going forward, or do you think it's bad? Like, what does everyone think here?
I think the excitement is good. I'll say that.
One thing that I did see today actually was I got this on a website or whatever, but it was an online auction, and there was 4 or 5 mocks that went up. Somebody's is a local auction, and one of them was a Leia Bouche. I don't know what back it was, but it was yellow blister. The card back was really nice. Shane, what's a yellow blister card back Bouche go for?
200.
Yeah, I mean 200 or 215 or less.
That thing went for $800.
No,
and Luke Jedi or a Luke X-wing pilot on a Return of the Jedi card, yellow blister, $2,400.
What? I need to start raising my prices. Damn.
Yes. On a live auction. I couldn't believe it. Live auction. I'm like, oh my God. And I was watching it going back and forth. And I think what John Rula said is right. It was literally 2 guys, because you notice the number is oscillating. It was 2 guys that they just had to have it. And I don't know if it had anything to do with the Hakes auction or not, but I was like, have people lost their minds? Like, I don't know. That seemed very, very
At
odd.
least when you see that on eBay and you look at the bids, you'll see the bids in the 20s, the 30s, and 40s. When I was looking at Hakes, all the bids were like in the single digits.
Yeah.
So were there two guys bidding against one another? I don't know. There's 7
I don't
bids.
know. The 10 card backs I
How
won
much
from
back and
Hakes
forth did it go?
was very minimal bids on the 100 grand that I spent. So.
Well, listen, the DT Obi only had 6 bids.
Yeah.
And some other bigger ticket items.
I get that one, you know.
Well, Shane, nobody wanted to throw a bid out there and then go, "Oh God, I won," and then you got to afford over 75 grand. You're like, "Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that."
Well, the skew footer R2 that went for just under 39 grand. That did have 22 bids. The green bowcaster Chewy had 13 bids.
I mean, I was amazed by that
10
price.
bids, some 12 bids, but a lot of single digits, like you're saying.
Men go from 50 to 100,000 with 6 bids, right? So each person is going on top of each other for 10 grand. Like, wouldn't you maybe start adding $50? Right?
What were the
coming over with 10 grand? Like,
what were the bid increments?
The bid increments had to be high for that.
It probably had to be 2,500 or so, right?
I'm actually glad you brought that one up, Shane. So you brought up the Chewbacca 85 skew footer with green bowcaster.
Yeah.
What was the final sale? I think it was like 8 or 13.
The final sale on that was 9,100, almost 9,200.
Okay, so Rogue 5 sold one for 5,000 shipped. So if anyone's interested, join Rogue 5. 5,000 shipped. It was half price. Save your money. Same subs. It was the same sub scores too.
No
Straight
buyers
85.
fees. No buyers fees. No tax.
No buyer premiums. Yeah.
No buyers fees. No
It was a
tax.
strong price too. I would say 5,000. You did extremely well, right?
That's what I
Before this
thought.
auction, I'd say that's a great sale price to you. It's
I
higher than I would pay.
I was more than happy with it when I slapped it up
Yeah.
and someone claimed it. I was like, great.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Cloud Car Pilot, the 45 back, 85, went for 5,500, 5,600, I think one of you guys said.
Yeah, that one was
18 bids on that. So there was some interest in that one for sure.
Thanks, Daddy.
Hey, thanks, Star Wars
Daddy.
Daddy.
Thank you, Daddy.
Thank you, Daddy.
Thanks for the super
Thanks,
chat.
Daddy.
So creepy. Really weird.
It actually makes me very happy that John seems so irritated and annoyed right now.
Well, I think honestly, I think if I have a collection to sell, now's a good time to do it. This year is the year to sell it while there's so much hype going on, and market 20% less on Rogue 5 and it's going to sell. maybe a little bit more on some of those larger ones. But I mean, seriously, if you have a collection to sell right now this year, I feel like is a good time to do it. Just while people, maybe the week after a Hakes auction or a Heritage auction where the prices go nuts. So I've given
Because of this auction? Are you saying that because of this auction, or in general, is that what you're seeing?
No, I just think in general that the market is really strong right now. There's a lot of the interest has kind of swung back up a little bit versus last year. I feel like last year it was kind of subdued. Maybe it's just my imagination.
For sure.
It was very subdued.
It was. I mean, I've noticed sales on Rogue just being very good in general the last 6 months, let's just say overall. It's been very good. But my thing is that the people that are buying Jeff's collection, are they collectors or are they investors? Because investors, it's going to get to a point when they want to get rid of it. Where are they going to sell it and who they're going to sell it to?
Well, that's my problem is if they are investors and some percentage of them don't really know the hobby, the prices.
All right.
I mean, they're putting such a premium on the items that they're not going to get that return on them.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to spend 7,000 on a prune face mock to get their money back?
Ross might. I don't know.
I don't think they're worried about that. I really don't. I think
they're collectors. Then they're not
This is my
investors.
son commenting. Sorry.
What's
I think
up,
my
Elijah?
son and his friends are commenting now. You remember they're big fans of the show.
That's good.
I don't know if
What's
I
up,
told you
guys?
guys, they're big fans of the show.
But if there's people that bought at big dollar prices and they don't care, then they're not investors. They're collectors, and maybe they're minor collectors who are just hot for the moment. But I wouldn't call them investors. They're not investing in an item at a good price.
I mean, in most hobbies, when the investors start outpacing the collectors, you basically will just form a bubble. And then at some point it's going to pop.
Well, what are we in right now? I mean, look at everything. Look at stocks. Look at the PE ratio of the S&P 500.
We're in a bubble.
Look at houses. Look at literally everything that you can put money into. We're out of everything bubble right now. And why should collectibles be any different, in my opinion?
Well, everybody get ready to sell your collections. The second week of May, I believe, is the target.
You will get $7,000 for your mocks each one. Every single one.
Guaranteed. Rula said so.
I'm going to sell every Leia Bosch for $800 a piece. Be rich. The Boba Fett 48 back C, AFA 85, none higher in pop. Wait, hold on. Let's get the none higher in pop. 27 grand with 18 bids.
I mean,
so that was that had some action too.
I'm still trying to figure out why.
Was that a B or a C?
A C.
Or an A?
C.
Okay.
Free Revenge of the Jedi sticker.
85 plus. That changes everything.
Oh, it was an 85 plus?
I mean,
Plus.
I have 85 here.
Plus.
Was it a plus?
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah. Did you?
I think
Yes.
the description said plus, but then the actual sticker said 85. If I remember correctly.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I remember.
Is it actually none higher in pop?
85 on the sticker.
All right. Your fault for
Misleading.
asking me to come on the show.
Misleading.
Because I remember seeing that one. And I was like, oh, it says 85 plus, but the sticker says 85. Yeah.
I just couldn't understand why it went for so much money. I mean, is the 48 C-back Boba Fett really that tough to get? I mean, maybe an 85, but is it like 27,000 tough?
Well, I don't know, man. Maybe
I don't
somebody went with the title of 85 plus. They got duped.
Well, I will say this. One of my subscribers raises a good point. Okay. So you look at anything else. So you look at the trading card market. You look at the comic book market. Those even like graded video games, and going from an AFA 80 to an 85 or 80 to a 90, going from a PSA 9 to a PSA 10. I mean, there are big jumps in value, right?
Yeah.
So let's say an AFA 80 is worth, I don't know, 3 to 5 max.
I was thinking 4. So yeah.
Yeah. So let's call it 4,000. Is it worth 10x? Some collectors, maybe, if all they collect are AFA 85s with straight 85 subscores, it's pretty hard to find those. And there are collectors that do that, right? That have to have only the best of the best as part of their collection, and they're willing to pay that premium. AFA 95, IG 88 was another one that, so I get it. I mean, it's not a market that I understand or would even choose to participate in terms of paying those massive multiples. But I'm not the target market for a lot of these items, right? The target market is very high net worth individuals who have to have the best of the best at whatever cost, and to fill out their collection. So there's going to be that factor, I think, that plays a part.
What do you guys think about this 3-pack Imperial set, AFA 90?
That was hot.
Finished at just over 10,000 with 13 bids. A beautiful piece.
Mm-hmm.
That was yellow. Was that yellow? No,
I don't think so.
No, the creature set was yellow.
Creature set. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was pretty nice. I mean, 10. I don't know what you guys think, Ross. You probably know the upper end of the market better than I do, given that you're, the 12-back group. That to me feels like a pretty good deal, but I don't know.
I actually think it's cheap.
That's a tough one. That's a really of the 3-packs. I think it's a relatively hard one to find, and to find them in that condition, you just don't get them, because you look at how bulky those boxes are, right? Very rarely will you see them in that good a condition. So I think that's a relatively fair price for that.
Me too. Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece.
I sold the Hero set 85, and that sold for 17 or 18,000. So to see this 90 grade, I mean, to me that's cheap. Actually, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's real cheap.
It's hard to say something that's 10,000 is cheap, but I don't think
I
you're
know.
wrong.
But for a 90, it's like insane.
Yeah. Now another one. This is a 75. This is the Star Destroyer 4-pack mailer went for $13,570 with 21 bids. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I could. I wasn't ready to share this one, but a 4-pack. This is with Vader, Bosk, Boba Fett, and IG-88.
Oh, the multi-pack, like department store multi-pack.
Yeah, that one. I mean, 13,500.
That's pretty rare. I don't know if I've ever even seen that until this auction, to be honest with you.
Show a picture, because I think I want to see if it's the same one that I got offered last year. Yeah, so I actually got offered that last year for an 80, and it was $4,000. And what's the grade on this one?
A 75.
Oh wow, okay. So I mean, I don't have an answer to that. Oh, the line art box. Okay.
The final price was 13,570.
Yeah. That's high, man. It's high.
The line art box, maybe is that?
Yeah,
Maybe
I think it's because of all the line art box. Art box.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice box.
I mean, 13,500 high. I mean, I don't know, but
Dude, for a mailer.
Well, I mean,
get
like
outta
you
here.
gotta if that is the thing that you're after, and that's the only one that you've seen, and now it's for sale, you're gonna put that money down for it. You know, you gotta have. I need it.
So
Need it.
how does this switch over now to like Diamond going bankrupt? Let's switch it over since it's getting late now.
Yeah, and I'll just, again, for anyone who didn't know the number, just the final bids, and I believe there was 3 or 5 items that were in the last hour when I pulled this data. So there's a few more dollars to be had, but you see in the bottom right corner, $1.44 million was the final tally. 1.4 million.
I really like you have the Jake Jefferson auction.
What's his name? Jingleheimer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, Jacob, he donated $130,000 of the proceeds.
Yeah, I was going to mention that he donated like $140,000, whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's turn our attention to the Diamond news, and just because it's similar company, companies that are underneath the Diamond umbrella, the CGC, the AFA.
Yeah, AFA is, but Hakes is not. Hakes is under the Jeppy umbrella.
Okay. And did somebody bring up Morphe's? Is Morphe's under this umbrella at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Who brought up that, Charles?
Isn't Diamond a part of the Jeppy family there too?
Diamond is what is it? They are a division of, or no, wait, Diamond is a separate entity than Hakes. Okay, so but is it AFA that is a division of Diamond? I think is how I understood it.
Yeah. That's what you said in your video, that AFA is a direct division of Diamond, but Hakes is not.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important point is I spoke with an attorney on this, and that sorry, sneeze. I spoke with an attorney on this, and it sounded like because AFA is not a separately wholly owned subsidiary, that they are technically as part of the bankruptcy for Diamond. So will it get spun off? I mean, I guess they've already announced that Diamond is going to sell off if they can find an appropriate buyer for CGA grading to pay off their debts, because they've got a lot of debt and a lot of liabilities that they're trying to work through with the courts. But y'all can stop me if I'm wrong on any of this, but that's how I understood it based on what the attorney told me.
Yeah, I'm not aware of the structure of these subdivisions or these companies that are partially under the umbrella. So I would defer to anyone here who knows more than I do.
Well, let's just stick with the ones that we actually care about. So AFA is do you think someone's going to come in and buy them out? Do you really think AFA is going to go bye-bye?
I don't think they're going to go bye-bye, but I do think they're going to have a new owner. I mean, just based on, Diamond came out and said that in the announcement that they're going to look for a strategic partner to take on CGA grading as part of their, bankruptcy Chapter 11 filing. So the question is who, or if the valuation makes sense for them to do it. And that answer I don't know.
Well, a lot of things can happen if they get taken over by somebody else, right? New owner. I mean, all sorts of stuff can happen with that. Nobody knows, what the future holds for sure.
Real quick, we got a super chat from Darth Wizzy Wizard.
Thank
Darth
you.
Wizzy.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Darth.
Great guest, he says.
I'm curious as to what Ross thinks about this whole shutdown or this whole bankruptcy.
I mean, look, I think it was 5 years ago. So when Diamond bought CGA, AFA, whatever, we were concerned, right? This was a really big company with a big distribution network. And, AFA was always run by, it was a smaller shop. And then you have this big conglomerate who buys them. And again, we were concerned. We were not sure what they were going to do, what was going to happen and all that. And now, a few years ago, Diamond, or recently, maybe John, this, lost their Marvel license and their DC license, right? And that kind of put them in a really bad spot. I've read the pleadings. Clearly, I have an interest in this, right? CGA is our big competitor. AFA is our big competitor. So I read the pleadings on it, and what John said is right. They are not a separate company. When they were purchased by Diamond, they just didn't buy the entity, the corporate entity. They just put all the assets into Diamond. And so they got wrapped up in this bankruptcy, right? Now, are they doing well themselves? I don't know. You can't really tell. Is it just because Diamond's not doing well and AFA is great? I don't know, right? But they're clearly in bankruptcy now, and I think that adds a lot of uncertainty, right? And again, I wish them well. They have employees like we have employees, and I don't want to see anyone get hurt, right? You don't know what they're doing with their staff or what their future is. Mm-hmm. As Brandon said, they get bought by someone and they take them in a different direction, but maybe a totally different company, or maybe exactly the same. There's just a lot of questions, not a lot of answers.
What I find interesting about this is, like you just said, not knowing how CGA and AFA are doing on their own, but right. The idea that Diamond would be looking for someone to spin them off to sell them to, and they think that they're going to be better off with the rest of their properties without them is you could see that being telling. It's either telling that they feel that's not one of their strongest parts of their business right now, or it is one of the strongest parts and they can get a good price for it, and that's going to save everything else. That would make you think that they feel strongly about their other divisions, but I don't know. Their distribution division has had a lot of trouble the last bunch of years.
Well, Shane, I think you raise a good point there, because that's something I mentioned in my video on this, is that, all right, you got Hakes underneath a whole separate, they're under the Jeppy Family Enterprises. They're a separate, wholly owned subsidiary. There's a natural synergy there between AFA and Hakes. You can get your stuff. Let's say you got a big collection, you get it graded at AFA, and they'll send it right over to Hakes and sell it for you. And again, this is all speculation on my part, but in my videos, if really doing, if AFA CGA is really doing that well, why would you sell it off? Why would you not move it over to Jeppy Family Enterprises as its own wholly owned subsidiary to be, so I think, in my opinion, okay, this is my personal opinion, I can't see AFA CGA doing very well right now if they're talking about dumping them. And look at CGC grading. They've had their own struggles here lately. I know for a fact that they've got to be struggling with all the different scandals they've had. The Reholder Gate, the Banana Gate, for the books kind of being bent in the cases. I mean, they've had a lot of bad stuff happen over at CGC, and you see it in the marketing from CGC. You see it in the turnaround times that they track daily on their website. When you submit something, that turnaround time number used to be like a year, and now it's like 10 days, whatever the number is. I haven't looked lately, but so they're struggling getting submissions too. And if you extrapolate that out to CGA grading and how in my opinion, they've been a lot more aggressive with their marketing here over the last 6 months, particularly. That maybe they're struggling as well. I don't know. Again, this is all speculation on my part, but it just feels weird that they would sell it if it's a cash cow.
Right.
Here's something that actually no one's mentioned or talked about yet. AFA shut down their grading for how long? Over a year. That means they weren't making any money, right? If you're not grading, then you're not making money. How are you making money?
The loose.
And as everyone knows, that's a large part, I'm sure, even of your business is the loose graded aspect.
Absolutely.
So if you're not doing any loose grading, you're not bringing in anything for about a year or so, then where's money coming in from?
Meanwhile, everything's more expensive. Acrylic's more expensive. Employers are more expensive.
Everything's gone up. Yeah.
I mean, it caught a lot. All these grading companies, including CAS, in some respect, we got caught with our pants down, right? That's right. It's PG-13.
That's the visual. Do you even have pants on?
But exactly.
Brandon's been swearing the entire episode. It's there's no rules anymore.
I'll say we had a tough year last year too. We had a really tough year after being profitable several years in a row. This is a tough year last year, right? So I don't think anyone's immune. I don't know what they were doing, but I'd be surprised if they had a great year last year either. All right.
Think about Ross, think about all of the industries in the US and globally that have been totally foobarred as a result of COVID and coming out of COVID. The housing market is all screwed up. We've got super high mortgage rates, yet prices are still high because sellers are unwilling to sell. So that's screwed up. It just feels like coming out of COVID and the decline in the comic book market, and there was like massive run up in prices during COVID for a lot of stuff, not just comics, even Star Wars stuff.
And everyone was staffing up. So all the grading companies were staffing up and hiring a shitload of people to support all the stuff that was coming in. And all of a sudden the bottom drops out and you're sitting around, you got 50 employees or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of carrying costs.
There's a lot of industries like the grading industry that have been screwed up as a result of the going into COVID, during COVID, and then coming out of COVID. No one knew how the market was going to react for any of this stuff. And so, it just feels like another victim of the COVID bubble that we had.
I think last year hurt for a lot of people, for a lot of companies, for all the same reason.
Yeah.
Great.
What about Rogue 5 toy grading? How does that sound?
Right now it's basically Rogue 1, so I cannot take on anything more. So I'm good.
Right. Well, it seems like we have our problems here, according to Broken Jedi. So, so where do we see the market going for? I mean, let's stay on grading for grading, and we have Ross here from CAS. Where do we see the market over the next 6 to 12 months? So we're talking about the excitement around an auction. Obviously, a lot of mocks and high end pieces, but where do we see the different levels of grading of collectibles going in the next year?
What do you mean by that? Different levels of grading? You think?
Well,
what are one items more gradable than the other? Or
no. Just that the grading is open and enticing for all level of collectors. Meaning, you can get your loose graded, you can get your high end mocks graded, you can get your lower level mocks graded.
For business,
right? Like grading is not closed.
Our competitor is now in bankruptcy, right? Our competitor is now in bankruptcy. Who knows what happens to them ultimately? But we're going strong. We're doing good. We hope that people continue. I think there's a lot of element of not only the interest going down over the last year or so, as we talked about in grading in general, but there's a lot of people that acquired a lot of stuff over the last few years and now have most of what they need, right? So when people are acquiring the last 3, 4, 5 years, as they're bringing pieces in, they're getting them graded. If your collection's relatively complete, you're not going to send as much stuff out for grading. So what we've been doing is trying to target people that have never graded before, right? Versus, going out to the people that that have been customers for many, many years, people that are toy collectors that have never graded items before. That's what we're focusing on. Maybe that will be the new trend. It's harder right? To get someone who's never done something before to try something new. But we're having some success, right? You got to kind of build that new clientele. So not forget our wonderful sweethearts that, you know, do great occasionally. You can't forget about them either. So
I can tell you in the years prior, not counting last year, when people would buy stuff from me, a lot of people wanted me to send it off for grading. It seemed to be like a very popular thing. Last year, it kind of just died off. I would sell an item. I always say, do you want to send it in for grading? They're like, nah, just ship it. Okay, no problem. Right now, it's starting to seem to be actually picking up a little bit. More people are like, you know what? I'm sending this in for grading. Like, what do you think it would get? Or can you send it in for grading for me and save me shipping costs? And I'm like, all right. It just seems to be picking up the last month or so, 2 months, especially now if AFA is down. Even if they're not down, who's sending product in right now and giving them money? Nobody. I mean, I don't think anyone's smart is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean,
there you go.
Yeah,
I mean,
Burrell's asking, you know,
if I'm sending in my items, if I'm sending in items right now, am I sending it into AFA or CAS? And my answer is 100% CAS. Not because Ross is sitting here, but it's because you're sending it into a company that
I can sign off if you guys want to talk about sending stuff to AFA. That's fine. I can sign up.
But he told us last week he was going UKG.
UKG. You have a company with so much uncertainty, and it's like, all right, well, people are going to grade. Grading is always going to be part of the hobby. Where are they going to go right now? They're going to go to CAS. So
that sounds great. Yeah. Thank you. Please send stuff to CAS, please.
James Gunther's here. He's a big fan of the sweet CAS customs. I mean, we've shown a lot of that on our show, both with collections coming in or Chris having great things graded in the past. The displays for the special items, the special requests that you guys take, those come out just beautiful. They come out really nice.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, your displays are.
I do them all myself in my little workshop.
You definitely do the best custom work there is I've seen. So,
dude, the loose.
I appreciate it.
Hey guys, the loose die-cast boxes that they make are so good. I mean, I'm looking at mine right now. I've got most of the ships here, the die-cast ships, and the cases that CAS has, man. That's almost those and my graded bootlegs from CAS. If I get some person that comes into my collection room after they know that I'm not going to kill them because they think I'm like Jeffrey Dahmer with these weird cases everywhere, the first thing they ask, the first two things they always ask about every single time are my loose die-cast ships and my graded bootlegs every single time. And that's the only place you can get them, here in the U.S. is CAS. So
that's awesome.
All right. Well, you enjoy those for from now until the second week of May, John. And,
I mean, you could have been like UKG and put the die cast straight on the bottom of the acrylic, but CAS puts it on like that ramp.
Yeah, that ramp. I gotta get one now.
And it just like
spacing.
It just makes it like pop out more from all angles instead of being flat down to the ground. Yeah. There you go.
Whoa, we got them nice and big.
That's hot. That's hot.
It also functions as a coffee table as well. That thing is gigantic. My goodness,
it's not that big actually. It just looks big, but it's hot, man. I love those.
He had to ship one of his kids to boarding school just so that he could fit all those die cast in.
Cool. I'm glad you're happy.
I got twins. They're going to college in like 6 years, so all of this crap in my room has to go by then because I've got to pay for colleges.
So, John, I actually have a really important question for you.
Me?
If you're, so where are you going to sell your whole collection when it's time to go?
Well, it'll be Rogue 5. There are some potential exceptions. My AFA 85s and 90s. I would say that they might go to Hakes. Hakes has proven that they can, and they'll say from the AFG collection. Just their name on there will be like, people are going to pay a premium for that. Let's be real.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think Ross would actually put a sticker on the bottom saying the AFG collection, and then we can just relabel all of them.
We actually did put the Morphe Fine stuff on there too, which I don't think Brandon's wrong. I think history probably won't remember it, but I got more than a few items from that, and I'll remember it. right? I thought that was cool.
I thought it was cool that you
did you
added.
go? Did you go to that?
I was there in person. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then, yeah,
It's
I can
awesome.
understand. I
It was
can
a great
understand
experience.
that. I can
Chris
understand
was
that.
rubbing
Somebody-
elbows with CAS when he was there.
And somebody who 5 years from now buys a graded piece and was like, "What the hell is the Morphe fine?"
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah.
No, I thought it was cool that it was added to the label because for the hardcore collector, it is kind of a cool way to remember something. If you happen to be there and bid on it, and and then submit it to CAS for grading, and then there's a lot of stuff in my collection that I go back through, and based on what is on the label or the story behind it, it just helps remember a specific event in your collecting history. I think it's just kind of cool to do that, in my opinion.
I think Jeff Jacob has the most amazing collection there is and ever will be. So he's a name that I don't think is ever going to be forgotten. So if you see a label 10 years down the road, people are still going to know what it is.
Yeah.
Because that
I think
collection
with
was like one of a kind.
certificates. The obviously the AFA didn't regrade all this stuff, but I think he was doing certificates, right?
Yeah.
He put stickers on every one of the cases.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about the regrading part, we can go down that rabbit hole also, because I wasn't a big fan of those grades either, but we don't have to touch that part.
There's no way I would regrade half of those.
No.
No way.
No, especially like the older labels that were 90s with no subgrades, right? And people paying $8,000 for it.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
A lot of this seemed like overgraded stuff. Not taking away from any of it, because I basically, just said it was the best collection in the world put together. But a lot of it did seem a little overgraded.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
I saw a video today. He said he started grading them in 2004, 2005. So that's probably when a lot of those, you got the earliest of the earliest grades from when I first started doing it.
Yeah.
It's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So 2025, Ross, what is besides for trying to get people to start grading for the first time, what is where is CAS going this year?
You were responding to James' comment, right? So James Gunther just asked, what's our turnaround time? We're at like 90 days and less on everything, right? So that was one question. But I think you're asking a different question, Chris. Like, where are we going?
Yeah, I'm just asking because you said that you kind of had a little bit of a rough year last year like everyone else did. And what's your plans for this year?
So, look, I think I talked about it before, right? A lot of these grading companies, I think, staffed up significantly, right? Hired a shitload of people, incurred a lot of expense. We've always been smaller, right? So we're more nimble. We've been able to kind of adjust our cost structure, right? And did some things with employees, not to say terminated a bunch of people, but kind of right-sized our staff a little bit. We had multiple people doing the same thing where it could have been one person's job. So we've done some of that, and our cost structure is a really good place that we're, making money, cash flow neutral, something like that, and keeping our powder dry for keeping our marketing up and hoping that things, improve. It was definitely a down year, right? We've been around 7 years. Every year it was up, more and more submissions, 20, 30, 40% increases year over year. That didn't happen last year. It was down. It was down versus the prior year. I don't think that trend's going to continue at all. We've already starting to see, December and January improved, right? And I'm not going to turn this into politics, but love or hate Trump, I think there's an element to that, right? That
100%
perceive that he's good for the economy, and that'll help. So, I think things like the Hakes auction and the prices there probably going to help grading, right? People see all those prices. So, look, I think some of those prices in the auction I don't think are good for the hobby at all. But overall, seeing the strength in the hobby is fantastic. It's good for all of us, right? We want to see a strong hobby.
Yeah.
So, and I think that will translate to grading. It already has. Like I said, things have absolutely turned around the last few months.
I've already noticed it also myself in the last few months. People seem to be wanting to be more grading, again, selling loose figures. So hey, I want to grade this, no problem.
Nice, Star Wars Daddy.
Star Wars Daddy, you have a problem. Okay.
No, he doesn't.
The action figure grader is telling you have a problem.
Yeah.
You must have a
There's
problem.
a man with 400 cubic feet of acrylic on a shelf.
Yeah. Well, let me just jump in here, and I think we're going to wind down soon, but just remind everybody we're on Patreon. The links are down below in the description. You can just click on it. Go visit our patreon.com/5idiotstalkingtoys. If you like the show, if you like what we're doing, that's a great way that you could support us. There's benefits there in seeing collections before they go up for sale on Rogue 5 Toys. We have early access to all of our videos, as well as 5 Idiots After Dark, where we just kind of get crazy and say whatever we want to say. And it's just for Patreon supporters. So please check us out there. Subscribe to the channel here on YouTube as well. Fellas, any other thoughts or questions for our guests?
Why don't you read any questions in the comment section? So maybe John and Ross can answer a few. And
we've been putting them up a bit.
Okay.
We've been putting them up. Well, Star Wars Daddy says we all have problems.
I mean, we're all collecting plastic figures. Of course we do.
Yeah. But no, we've been kind of throwing them up there as we go through. If anybody has any questions, here's your last chance.
Yeah.
John, what are you up to with your collection?
Me?
Yeah, John Rula. What are you kind of just static right now? Are you
This is the Shane question hour. Shane's just going to ask all the questions from here on.
No, it's okay. I really have not. I bought in the last Hakes auction in November. I bought a hybrid tri-logo snaggletooth. That was November 27th when that auction ended, and I have not bought anything since then. November 27th, and I've been putting I'll be honest with you. I've been putting a lot of money into Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin's going to do very well under the current administration. And I've got enough. I mean, Ross kind of talked about it. When you got enough, you got enough. Yeah. And I don't have to, it's not like Pokemon. I don't have to collect them all. I've got like 110 mint on cards all graded. I've got about 400 or 500 loose graded. At what point do I need any more? I don't need any more. And quite honestly, I'm probably going to be selling them all in the next 5 years or so because I've got 2 kids to put through college. I mean, that's just the truth of it. So I take all my play money now and I invest in dividend stocks and Bitcoin. That's all.
Lynette Snow wants to know how can we find CAS's population report?
Good question.
So, I think we touched on the experience with AFAs right earlier. I think it's often seen as having some problems. Like what happened with this Hakes auction is not something new, but it's always been a little funky. So, we didn't want to put ours out and have the same experience, right? It's something that we've been working on for a while. It's been in the thoughts. It's just, it hasn't been a priority because we don't want to put something out that's faulty or doesn't look good. Or even the first several years that we were around, we just hadn't graded a lot of stuff, right? So now 7 years in, I think we have enough. So at some point we'll do it. Is it going to happen in 25? I don't know. I don't like to make promises that we won't deliver on.
Okay.
So, well, you guys do keep it all cataloged though, so you do have it when you need.
Yeah, we have a database of everything.
Okay. James Gunther wants to know if there's anything that CAS has graded that they wouldn't do again.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about the custom stuff that we're known for that, right? Now, what you don't see is that actually, some of the stuff I think you guys have seen and talked about on the show, right? Like some of the parts and pieces that get broken in the mail, right? If you have a big case and there's 30 different clips, one of those 30 breaks and it's broken. Now at CAS, we always say we'll pay for shipping back. We'll pay for shipping back to you, right? We'll reimburse you what it costs. We lose money on all that stuff. Not all of it, a lot of it, right? So the really complex customs with 50 things in a case, you're never going to see that again. Can you see all the Han Solo variations in one case? Absolutely. Right. We'll still do stuff like that, but really complex customs with, stuff like that. Do those all day.
This is hot. I'm sorry. You get an unused Polish bootleg card back along with the Polish bootleg. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's
one of my favorite things we do. The loose.
Did you do that one, Ross?
Yeah,
in my shop. No, I'm the least handy person of all time. It would be like the shittiest case you'd ever get. It'd be pieces all over. I'd probably glue your figure to the case.
Why is my figure's head backwards?
Is that an APG graded? APG? Yeah, APG. Okay.
Does
So
CAS have
question.
any former AFA employees?
We used to. Actually, one of the guys that really helped us build the business a lot, this guy Lee Roper, was with us for several years, and he was really instrumental in helping build our business and all that. But currently, no.
Nice.
Love
Look at
it.
that shit.
Okay.
I love those.
That's
cool.
They graded that without the limbs attached.
Those right there is like a game changer. I have a couple of those, and it's like, how else are you ever going to do that?
I've got like 20 of these, man. I love these.
I love those too.
And more.
Will CAS ever open up a West Coast location to send in items?
So we do. One of the things we want to work on a lot this year, actually, and Chris, maybe you and I should talk about this at some point, but submission centers, right? We want to kind of roll that program out before. We did it several years ago that we worked with bricks and mortar and even online sellers that, Chris, I guess you were sending a lot of stuff in for people to get graded.
Yeah, it was.
We actually have a program where online sellers or bricks and mortar folks, if they, sell an item and then ask the person to get it graded, they would get a cut of the grading fee. I never knew you were doing that, or else I would have told you about the submission center program. But so I think with Star Wars Daddy asked that question. We have a location in San Diego, really big guy. Yeah,
I go to the store all the time.
TC Rockets, right?
Yeah. Submission center. He's got a big placard on there.
Right. So that's a program. Again, like our motto this year is whatever it takes, right? That's kind of like our little punchline.
We're gonna have to talk offline about this one.
Yeah. So, we were doing it with bricks and mortar, but there's no reason that an online seller can't do that, right? Basically, you turn like every item you're selling. You ask the person, do you want to get it graded? Great. Another $5, $10, $15, whatever in your pocket is your commission.
I thought that you guys were doing that like all over the place because I was really surprised to see that at that shop in San Diego at TC Rocket. So yeah,
he's probably our biggest one actually. He's awesome. Yeah, Steve. So that's one of the things we just got to get more of them out there. And honestly, that was one thing I thought with Diamond's distribution network that AFA would really kind of take on.
That's what I thought.
Never happened. Never happened.
Yeah, that was weird.
I don't think they knew what they were even getting into.
That's a fair statement.
Smart people. There's, I don't know. Jeppy's there, and Diamond's a big business. I think they knew what they were getting into, but they just didn't do anything with it.
Right.
Right.
Well,
We're going to have a big website, and that I think that was one of the biggest things that they did, Diamond, with them. So you got a website, okay, great. You know what I mean? Like they could have done so much more. I think.
Of course, yeah.
It goes back to Diamond's announcement that they want to sell off CGA grading. I mean, who's a likely who wants to get in to knowing all of the different nuances of action figures? Like CGC doesn't want to do that. It's too many variations, too complicated. The grading cases are not stamp them out really quickly, like with CGC comics and with video games where it's just a square box. So it's a very limited buyer pool, or it's maybe the principals at AFA buy it back, like a management buyout type thing. I don't know, but it's if Diamond with their distribution network, I mean they had partnerships at comic shop. I mean, they could have set up a massive network of submission centers for AFA, and it never happened. And it blows my mind that they never did that.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to believe anybody who's going to invest in that business is going to do it as an investor, as a parent company underneath an umbrella. They're going to rely on the people on the ground, boots on the ground at AFA, to continue with that knowledge base that's going to continue to run the company. And how they hold on to those people, I don't know, but I don't think anybody's looking to step in and take over the nuts and bolts of that.
But I mean, if it's not, I guess my point is, I'm speculating that it's not profitable right now.
Right.
All right? And so you're asking an investor to come in and quote unquote turn around an industry that they don't know anything about.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it's a very difficult proposition to find a viable buyer for CGA grading, in my opinion, unless it's the management team or the grading company that has experience.
All right. Will a membership ever come back at CAS?
That's in the spirit of whatever it takes. That is something that we're thinking about, James, for sure.
Okay.
I think we plan to roll something out probably in the next month or two.
Oh, there you go.
Breaking news!
Breaking news!
Breaking news! You guys
heard it here
broke
first.
You scooped it. You scooped it.
All right, very good. Anybody have anything else before we wrap this sucker up?
I do.
Okay.
So I still stand behind this theory that if our economy goes to hell over the next however long, 12 to 18 months, that we're gonna see a decline in the collectibles space. We saw a massive run up during COVID. We saw a massive run up during, and then once inflation really started hitting, that was kind of like the peak, right? June of 2022, I believe, was the peak CPI inflation data, right? That was the peak prices, in my opinion, with some exceptions, obviously, recently. I personally think if we see a major recession, we're going to see a major recession in prices for collectibles. And, whether that happens or not, I don't know. But while we have this everything bubble, we're going to continue to see massive prices in these auctions.
Which really is mind-blowing when you consider you go to the grocery store now and it's borderline $8 for a dozen eggs.
The have and have nots, though, man. I mean, the people buying this crap, they're sitting on 100, whatever the number is, $100 million of Bitcoin or stocks, and to throw $5,000 at an item that's that we are arguing is worth less than that, they don't care. They've got 10 houses. They can shit out $100 bills. They don't care.
Right. But then that supports the argument that these outlier prices in the Hakes auction are just that they're not going to have a major impact on the rest of the market, because it's kind of understood that like you just said, there's somebody that has FU money and they're throwing it at something they want on the spot. They're ordering an Amazon at 2:00 in the morning. It's like that kind of dynamic, and it's not going to affect the rest of the more.
I do that.
Common
right now. If you look at it right now, all the top economists are predicting some sort of a pullback, and it was going to be with any administration that was in. Again, we're not getting political. No matter who was in, there was going to be some sort of pullback at some time. There has to be, because
it's got to correct itself. Yeah,
it has to. It's just too high in all aspects of everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when is it going to happen? Who the hell knows? But I mean, in general, what is there, a pullback at once every 10 years anyway?
Yeah, about.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. We got a nice session in with the action figure grader and with Ross Barr from CAS and Adam Gothard from Adam Gothard Creation. What was it? Customs? Oh God, I blew it.
At least you got his name right.
Adam Gothard Customs. I wanted to say Creations. Thank you very much for hanging out with us on the live stream here, folks. Thanks for hitting us with some nice questions and comments in the live chat and for the super chats. There it is, Adam's Vintage Customs. Thanks very much for being here, guys. We appreciate you.
Sorry, you're just about to wrap it up, and I wanted to say something.
Okay,
please go ahead.
Go ahead.
I did want to say this. We talk about auctions and grading and prices and all that. I watched you guys show, and I want you to know that I think you guys represent a lot of what I like the most about the hobby, right? Like friendship and all this stuff. Again, putting away values and prices and all that. It brings you guys together. I enjoy it. I think you guys got a really good thing going on. I think you should do the monthly live.
Yes.
Keep this thing going, right?
All right.
It's a kick-ass show.
We will try our hardest. Charles is not going to try his hardest. But the rest of us will. Adam will.
Thank you, Russ. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. And of course, we always give John Rula shouts whenever we talk about comics, right? So we'll keep that going as well.
I lost everyone a lot of money on comics.
Not me. Not me. I've gotten some free gifts from you for my kids, which I love.
Why do you think John's buying Bitcoin now and not comics anymore?
Yeah. He's throwing his $75 comics at me now because they're worthless. Yeah. All right, guys. A lot of fun hanging out tonight. Did the Chiefs win? What happened? I have no idea.
Yes.
Of course they did.
All right, so we've got a Chiefs and Eagles Super Bowl. I mean, there's just no one to root for.
Throw up in my mouth a little bit.
We're gonna actually do a live on Super Bowl night, so everyone's
exactly.
Might as well. I'm out.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate you giving us some time on a Sunday night, and thanks to everybody who watched. Please subscribe to the channel and check out our Patreon. We will see you next time on 5 Idiots Talking Toys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it, John, Ross.
Appreciate it.